Welcome everybody. Another edition of Two Guys and a Mic, special Monday night edition of Two Guys and a Mic. I am your host, Ron Pierce, RP, and I'm flying solo again tonight. Sean is not with us physically. His schedule still does not allow him to be on the show right in this moment. And like I said, we're both pretty busy, but I'm trying to make the concessions and the adjustments so that we get some content out to you guys. But as I said, this is a special Monday night edition because the Browns played tonight. It is locally about 12:40, 12:50 now. And we are celebrating the break of a losing streak. A losing streak that we didn't feel needed to be a losing streak. We felt like there should have been some wins in there, and there just weren't. I think some of the things that we may have felt during that losing streak, some of the things that we felt weren't going right, some of the things that we felt weren't looking right, definitely was not the case tonight. Definitely was not the case tonight. Some of the things that we felt bad about over the last month or so, we actually got a reprieve from that tonight, as the Browns were able to put together for the first time all season a complete game, a whole game, a game that probably from start to finish went about as well as you could want your game to go, from your quarterback, from your running backs, from the offensive line, the defense, the defensive line. Everybody looked the part. Everybody looked the part. And that's what we've been asking for. That's what we've been looking for. I don't think anybody was expecting this team not to at least look the part. We can't always win every game. We understand that, but we did not expect this team to look as bad as they've been looking. We did not expect this team to look as undisciplined as they've been looking, and we didn't think that this team would look like they're not coached well. And that's what we've been dealing with. Again, today we did not have to deal with that. Today looked like a completely and totally different team, as the team kind of cruised to a win today. After we got to a certain point, we cruised to a win, 32-13. Was pretty happy about that. I was hoping that we could have kept it together for the shutout, but I can't be greedy. Just a couple weeks ago, I didn't think anybody on this team could play defense or tackle or know what their assignments were. So, I don't want to act like I trying to take off big chunks and of things that I wasn't even asking for a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? So let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about the game a bit. I'm not trying to keep people long, trying to get right to it. So let's start where I usually leave off, or at least some of the topics that I usually have been talking about this year. The three-headed monster that has been Kevin Stefanski, Joe Woods, and Andrew Berry all played a solid part in today's win. Now, one thing about this show, one thing about me is, I'm going to have a criticism, but I'm also give you credit where credit is due. I'm always, if you did well, I'm going to say you did well. If you do bad, I'm going to say you do bad. That, to me, it's just being fair. And today, all of these guys did well. Joe Woods did well. Stefanski did well. And I'm going to start with Kevin. As the head coach, as the play caller, one of the criticisms that I've had of him is his lack of situational football IQ, and his lack of being able to call games in those types of situations beyond his scripted plays. Usually once we get past his 15 to 20 or so scripted plays, the plays that they work on all week long to, start the game and to start halves. Once we get past that, man, it's hit or miss. And no matter how well we start out in general, we always go away from what works. And to me, and not just to me, but to most people, there's one thing that works better than everything else that we do. That's the run game. And he tends to go away from that. He tends to see something that he likes, and he goes into this heavy pass situation, whether we have a lead or not. And it tends to just break the rhythm of the team. That did not happen today. Today, for the first time all season long, I think we ran the ball where not even so much volume wise, but volume wise was good. But they ran the ball volume wise well, but they also ran the ball when they needed to run the ball, where they needed to run the ball, in situations that required the ball to be ran. We, even if we only got a yard or two, or we lost a yard or two, we still turned around and ran it again. We got down on the goal line, we ran the ball. It puts you in the running game is going to set up the passing game in this situation. That's how that's working. That's how that's gonna work. And finally, it seems like it got through today to Kevin Stefanski. He called a pretty solid game. I hate to say this because I'm always looking for the positive. I usually am. And I still am. I'm still happy, and I'm not going to kill this guy at all. I'm going to give him accolades and credit. So today I cannot say, what I usually would say, which is the only thing he's consistent at is inconsistency. Today he was very consistent. And what I will say today is he was consistent in places where he has been inconsistent. And of course, to me, that's been in the passing versus the run game. He needs to run the ball a lot more. He could utilize Nick Chubb a lot more. And he has either listened to the show or he's listened to someone somewhere who said to him, hey, Kevin Stefanski, run the damn football and run the damn football more. Stop putting the game completely in Jacoby Brissett's hands. We saw that today, and we got a huge win in a game that most people thought would be a blowout going the other way. As I was mentioning a little while ago, Nick Chubb. My dude, hurdling guys today, running guys over. I mean, he looked completely and totally in command the entire time. And this is why it's important to just get him the ball. He kept a rhythm all game, and you could tell. He didn't start off running the ball, like he usually does. You see these gaping holes, and he just, starts out very fast. Today, he kind of had to grind it out. But as the game continued and as he got those carries, he just kind of beat and imposed his will upon that defensive line, against those linebackers, against those DBs, and to the tune of, he only had 101 yards, but he had 23 carries. And to me, that's what he has to get 20 carries. I don't see it any other way, especially the way things are right now. There may come a time later on, especially once we get our starter back, where he can, put his foot on the brakes a little bit and not run so much. But I think until things change from a quarterback standpoint, Nick Chubb has got to get 20 carries, at least 20. And today he got 23. And look at the results. And, just for the record, Nick Chubb has run for over carries wise. He's run over 20 times in a game, 22 times. We've won 15 of those games. So there is a good model that if he runs a lot, we can, get this dub. Yeah, I ain't think about it till I put this up to my lips. Yeah, I'm going old school today. Usually, I got my little 12 ounces, but today I went a little old school. I got the deuce. out here to do some Modelo. So I'm out here chilling, I'm having a good day. I'm having a good day. I'm having a great day. And I'm happy again that my Browns were able to pull this win off. So as we already talked about Nick Chubb, talk about Kareem Hunt, somebody that's been talked about over the last couple of weeks, especially with the trade deadline coming up tomorrow. This may have been his last game. I don't know. But again, KS found a way to utilize him properly today as well. Excuse me, guys, for a second while I do not disturb, or as my Apple friends and family always say, D&D. It always throws me off because I don't know what they were talking about. So I just had to put my phone on D&D. But Kareem came in the game today and he played well. Once again, he had 11 carries. So it's not just Nick Chubb running the ball. It's not just Nick Chubb having the ball. It's the run game, period. We have a superior run game. We need to utilize it all the time. So, even Dearness Johnson got in the game today for the first time in a long time. I can't remember this dude being on the field. So you're utilizing this guy. He got about 6 or 7 carries. You're utilizing Hunt. He got about 11 carries. Then my man got 23 carries. So we're looking at somewhere along the lines of 40 carries in the game. That alone could change how the game is played. You know what else it does? Takes the ball out of Jacoby Brissett's hands. He's not throwing 35 and 45 times a game. He should never do that. And it also creates a pocket for him. It creates space. It creates throwing alleys. And we saw that today. Bill had only 22 passing attempts. He had 17 completions, but he had 278 yards. 200, and listen, almost every throw that he threw today looked good. They looked like passes that were going to our guys. We saw a lot of single coverage because they had a lot of guys in the box, but we kept running it. So when you keep running the ball, regardless of what they got in the box, and you keep running, and you eventually are going to get some success because this dude that's how he runs. Now you start to, get some single coverages on the corners. You're starting to get single high safeties because you got the other safety in the box. It changes what you're looking at all of a sudden. It just changes what you're looking at, and it changes the rhythm and the momentum of the offense. Also got to tip my cap to Kevin Stefanski because he used a lot of multiple and I know a lot of this is because there was no we're missing some tight ends, but there were a lot of multiple offensive linemen sets in the game. We saw Hudson out there pulling on the line. He's basically playing in a tight end position, but he's actually a guard. Excuse me, he's actually a tackle. So you got this big tackle out there, putting his hands on edge guys, but you still had Conklin out there. You still had, Jedrick out there. You still had your normal, your offensive line out there. And now you got this guy out there too. We saw them just interchanging guys. These guys look fresh. These guys look interested. These guys look like a freaking freight train of will imposing dudes, man. They just won just about every time at the point of contact. Nick Chubb just ran like he almost looked better today than I've seen him look all season, and he didn't even run for a bunch of yards. It was just the style of running, the way he ran. Everything looked good. Everything worked well. I know that isn't how everything is going to always go. But when this is a team that you're going to put out there every week, this exact same thing, Kevin, you give your team as good of a chance as you put your teams in other weeks with your guessing and goofy play calling and all that stuff. as good of an opportunity as you give them to win there, you got a better opportunity of winning when you do it this way. You beat one of the better teams in the division. You beat one of the better teams, and especially one of the most, the team that somebody expects to be there at the end. You did a really good job today, and my hat's off to you. I appreciate being able to watch solid offensive football. So Kevin, I kill you, but I got to give you credit where credit is due. This team looked good. The offense looked good. The team itself looked good. There were some goofy penalties that as soon as you come out, you got the 12 men on the field. As soon as you hit the field, the first play of the game. So yeah, there could have been some things that fell apart after that, but it didn't. So you kept the team together from the coaching standpoint. Everything looked solid. So I got to give a shout out, tip my caps to one of the monsters in the three-headed dragon that I talk about often. Now, the second guy, I didn't call for this dude's job. I said I was going to do so every week. And I said I was going to do so until I saw some consistency. Unfortunately, I expect more out of this team. So when I'm frustrated because I don't see the things that I feel like I should see. I don't get the things from the team that I feel like I should have. And this defense has been the most disappointing part of this team. And that's saying a lot because I'm disappointed in the offense as well. But this defense has underachieved all season. And part of my issues with the offense as well is that we're so many years in, we're 3 years in, we can't keep having these slow starts and we can't keep guessing at what we're doing. Injuries happen, interchanging personnel happens. That can't keep being your excuse because other teams have the same exact problem and they seem to figure it out. Okay. So I'm not going to use those things as excuses. All of that said, I cannot utilize any of that stuff today. Today, I got to say, Joe Woods, I will keep the dry erase board up next to your office because we ain't pulling you out of there yet, not yet. But I like what I've seen over the last 2 weeks. I think last week he called a pretty solid game. Saw a much different looking defense. The effort was there. They actually looked like they practiced to stop a guy. Like you got to make adjustments when you have to stop a guy, when you have to stop certain people. Last week it was Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. They looked like they had a plan. And that's not something that I've seen the majority of the year. Today, it looked like they had a plan where they worked all week to stop this, to put pressure on Lamar Jackson last week, to put pressure on Joe Burrow today. And they did that. They absolutely did it. It looked great. I saw not just four-man front vanilla type defenses. I didn't just see zone defenses. I actually saw man-to-man coverage, one-on-one man-to-man coverage. We didn't even have our number one guy, in Denzel Ward, but we still put the corners in the positions to be one-on-one with these guys. And they were playing shorthanded. There was no Ja'Marr Chase. I think maybe it could have been slightly different if Ja'Marr Chase was out there. But T. Higgins isn't a slouch, and neither is Tyler Boyd. These guys are quality wide receivers, and they could give you as much work as anybody in the league. So to be able to maintain these guys and keep them under control and under wraps was impressive for guys that I kind of killed. Greedy Williams barely gets on the field. He played pretty good today. So did Greg Newsome. Not Greg Newsome, I'm sorry. what is my kid's name? Of course, now I can't think of it. 36, Emerson. He played well today. He played really well today. I saw a lot of good flashes from some guys. I saw some names that I have been on most of the season. Our linebackers played pretty good today. Taki had a hell of a game. Shout out to Sione because, again, I've been on him too. Listen, I want the effort. I'm on these guys because there is no effort. I'm on these guys because it doesn't look like they know where they're supposed to be on the field. I killed Joe Woods because of your guys look like they don't know where they're supposed to be on the field. Part of that still falls on you. If, as a manager, if my employees don't show up to work and half-ass do their jobs, yeah, we could fire them. But some of this still falls on you because why are you accepting it or why are you letting it happen? You know, it still falls on the manager, and that's what the coaches are. So, yeah, the coaches still have a job to do, and that's why I'm hard on those guys. But on a day like today where I got to eat crow, on a day like today where I saw everything that I would have wanted to see out of my defense and what I have wanted to see out of my defense all season long, I'm going to give praise and I'm going to give credit. I'm not going to act like, oh, yeah, I knew it. I'm going to just say, hey, listen, they did what I didn't think they could do. They did what they haven't been doing. I actually thought this team would be much better than what, damn sure better than our record. And I tell you what, if we played games like we played today, we would be better record-wise. But the bigger key is we put together two solid defensive games. Two very solid defensive games. We gave up a lot of yards last week to Gus Edwards, a couple touchdowns. Gave up some, you know, you're gonna give up some yards to Lamar, but we did not allow Lamar to just run crazy. He actually was kept in check, passing as well as running. Gus Edwards looked pretty solid in his return. It was his first game back in about 2 years almost, seems like. But today, we pretty much shut down the run. I think they had less than 40 yards rushing, which says a lot for this team. And I know some of that, if not the majority of that, is because, it's because of how the game kind of got away from them offensively. So now you put the ball in Joe Burrow's hand a little bit more, which again allowed us to dial up a lot more blitzes. Like I said, doing that man-to-man defense on the corners, on with the wide receivers was awesome. That's something I don't see regularly with us. I saw some stunts today, which I'm like, we stunned it. We stunned it a few times. Oh, wow. Got a sack out of it too. I saw stunts. I saw guys in different places. I saw more activity from the linebackers. I saw a lot of activity from the interior line. Tony Togiai was doing his job today, got his hands up on some stuff. Listen, pushed the pocket back. I was impressed. I was impressed with the effort from these guys all day long. I really was. I was shocked. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave out a name because I brought up a couple names. I was just impressed with what I saw from these guys defensively because I've been on everybody, but I ain't been on nobody like I've been on that damn defense. That defense stunk. And it has stunk until these last couple games, and they were even better today. I think they played pretty good last week. They were 10 times better today than they were last week, and that's saying something. They kept the pressure up on Joe Burrow. We had 5 sacks today. I don't think we've had 5 sacks in one game this season, not this season. I don't believe we have. Like I say, we already know Myles Garrett is an animal, a monster, and he played like it today with the batted ball, which led to an interception. He had a lot of pressures, even when you don't get the official pressure, but when you push your guy close enough to that quarterback and he has to throw it a different kind of way, he has to change his angle, that helps. And we saw a lot of that. And we also saw, of course, him getting he got 2 sacks today. Almost got a strip sack. Taki ended up with that one. It was a lot that there was no comfortable pocket for this dude. And you cannot have a comfortable pocket for Joe Burrow. You cannot. You cannot give Joe Burrow a comfortable pocket. You got to put some pressure on him. You got to make him move. You got to break that timing. You know, you got to run those guys off their routes if you can. Because when you don't, even when you do, you still see some of them darts and dimes. This guy, man, this dude can throw. I hate to be impressed with the doggone Cincinnati Bengals anything, but that kid can throw, man. Joe Burrow is the truth. But the Browns, for whatever reason, we got this dude's number, man. He's 0-4 against us now. And I would say these last couple games that we played against them, not the very last game, but this game and the game before that, we caught them full stride. They were in full stride last year when we went down there right after. Matter of fact, it was like a year ago around this time, because that's when we got rid of OBJ. It was like a little bit after the trade deadline. And then we went down there, played them, and really, really did well. Same thing today. First opening drive, we got a pick off of them, just like we did that in that game. So we seem to cause this dude a few problems that, maybe nobody else does. And now, because people keep talking about it, it's probably in their head or in his head. So, after a game like today, and let's be honest, it's not like this dude had no bad numbers. When I looked at his numbers, I was actually shocked. I said, damn, this dude, if you look at it, that is a regular stat line. That ain't awful. He was 25 for 35, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. That's not a bad day, bro. It's not a bad day. What makes it a worse day is he was under pressure most of the day, and they gave up 5 sacks. So you put all of that together, and yeah, you got a bad situation for your quarterback. But that's how good this kid is. He still is, he's still gonna get his numbers. We were able, as I said earlier, to hold T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd in check. That works for me, because that, again, we got him off the field a few times. Joe Mixon was almost a non-factor. I already said they didn't have a lot of running yards, but Joe Mixon is a multi-purpose back. He usually gets stuff out of the backfield. I saw more short passes today from Joe Burrow, underneath stuff, than I've probably ever seen. At least in the games I've watched him. It was a lot of short stuff. It was like it was the pressure that was getting to him, or it was the coverage, which forced him to, kind of do dump offs more so than a lot of the, the deeper stuff. I'm sure not having Chase affected that as well. But I have to say I enjoyed what I watched today. The Browns didn't care that Chase wasn't out there. We were going to take advantage, and we were going to make it happen. We didn't have Denzel Ward, so in a lot of cases, they should have been able to get their stuff off. So again, shout out to Joe Woods for having some variety, showing some thought to what was happening out there for the second week in a row. So you're starting to develop a little bit of that consistency that I was talking about before that will make me stop talking. But then again, what's going to end up happening is my expectations are going to go up because now we're doing this, and then he's going to have another bad game. But we'll talk about that when he has another bad game. We're going to take this win. We're going to take this win. We're going to take this good. And we're going to toast. And we're going to ride off into to this. Oh, wait. There's 3 heads to this, right? So I got the 2 heads out, gave them their accolades, and my tipping of the cap, Joe. Tip this cap to you, bro. You did good today. I just need you to continue. The third piece of that, Andrew Berry. Guess what? Remember when I was talking about that stunt play that happened? There was a blitz that we ran, and there was a stunt by the linebacker, Deion Jones. That's the guy we just picked up in a trade with up from Atlanta. So I believe this is his first full opportunity to play. And he was able to get his first sack for the Cleveland Browns. So we see a guy making some impact. I saw Tommy Togiai play well today. I saw Sione Takitaki play well today. I saw Emerson play well. AJ played well today too. So again, I'm seeing guys that you picked, AB. I'm seeing guys you picked, and they actually offered some assets today as opposed to a bunch of liabilities. Grant Delpit didn't do anything, but again, I ain't gonna talk bad. I'm only gonna talk good. So I had to give my tip of the cap to your picking up of different players and these guys actually showing up today. So shout out to the Three-Headed Dragons for shutting me the hell up this week, for keeping me positive, and for allowing me to be able to go to sleep tonight and not be all frustrated and mad for another Tuesday. So for another 5 days, I can chill. Oh, actually, we got a week off. I forgot. We got the bye week next week. So we riding off into the bye week, kind of on a high. I hope that we don't lose the momentum and lose that high, but it's going to be good for everybody to just go get some rest. Hopefully, when we come out of the bye, we'll have Denzel back. Hopefully, when we come out of the bye, I would say hopefully we'd have Njoku back. But, I'm fine if he's still out. This week still gives him a week to just rest it. I saw him out there today with the boot on, so we'll see what happens in a week and a half. Hopefully he's capable, better off, moving around. And maybe the week off will give him an opportunity to just think that we're off and not push himself to try to be back too soon. So that's all I got for. Oh well, before I say that's all I got, I had a few more things. This win actually puts the Browns, while their record is crap, 3-5. We're actually 2-1 within the division, having beat Pittsburgh and having tonight beaten the Bengals, and the only loss, of course, was to the Ravens last week. So that puts us in a pretty solid spot within the division. Now, we're gonna have to win some more games. We can't just winning the division games is good. It's actually pretty solid. We're gonna have to win some more games. So coming out of the break, we're gonna have to put some things together against some of these other teams. The Bengals are now 4-4 and 0-3 in the division. So let's remember that, because that could play out really, really well for us as the season goes on. I don't anticipate that they're going to finish 0-6 in the division. But, they only have 3 more games. So if we can beat them in Cincinnati, or the Ravens can beat them, or if Pittsburgh can find a way to beat them again, I don't foresee all of that happening. I see at least one of those games going south. But if we can start winning some games and still compete within the division, it could change a lot of stuff for us. So I'm trying to put out that optimism. I'm trying to push and promote the optimism. And hopefully, prayerfully, this team can start to really hit this momentum, really start to put together a couple wins. And then in a month, in 4 weeks, we get Deshaun Watson back. It's actually 3 playing games, but with the bye and then those 3 games, he'll be back in 4 games. He's got 4 games, and then he'll be back. So we're hoping that things are trending up here in Cleveland. We're hoping that things are looking good here in Cleveland. I like what I saw tonight, like what I saw the defense last week. That's what I was getting ready to say a little while ago. Let's just ride into this bye, get some rest, everybody. Chill out. Let's not be driving too fast in our cars. Let's just chill and get ready for football in a couple weeks. All right. That said, man, like I said, I don't want to make this a long show. Real quick and to the point. If you guys want to hear the show that's streaming audio wise, we are on Spotify, we are on Anchor, and we are also on Google iTunes. We're on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And of course, we are on YouTube. You can check us out on YouTube, like and subscribe. The name on all of those platforms, Two Guys and a Mic, 216. Holla at your boy. It's RP signing out. Peace, John. Peace. You guys have a good night.